Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the happy heart. Oh, I have two of them. This is the red jelly from Rainbow Loom, and this is just the opaque jelly from Rainbow Loom, so they're same shape or same stuff, just different bands, so you can see what it looks like. I will warn you that as we make this, it's the similar as what we've always done, but when we're all done on the side here we do have to kind of adjust it because of how the bands are stretched on the loom, but it goes pretty easily, so hopefully you think so too. Band wise, it is a little heavy. It is 334 bands for the red part, and then you'll want, I use the regular 9mm pony beads, the ones you can find almost anywhere on these ones, because I thought that they looked a little bit better because of just the size of the design. This one was one I did earlier that I adjusted to make a little bit different, but you can see that the eyes, how they look on the smaller beads that I normally use, how those look different. So if you don't have the beads, the regular pony beads for the eyes, you can still do them, or still add the eyes, just use 2 black bands per eye when we wrap bands. So that's totally up to you on how you want to do that. And then your cheek bands, whatever color you want, and a mouth band. So we'll get started. And we'll go through, like I said, I'm going to use the larger pony bead like this. If you use those, you don't necessarily need a little tool to thread through the bands. You just kind of squish them up enough. You should be able to just push them through. Like that. If you don't have the beads to do it, you want to take 2 bands, wrap them on your hook, wrap them around again to a figure 8, and grab all the bands, so all 4 bands, and wrap them around one more time. And kind of ball it up, and then pull through 2 bands the color of your heart. So that would be your eye band if you want to use the larger one. If you're going to use a smaller size eyes, then just use 1 band for that. Cheeks are, I just use 1 band for the cheek, so whatever color you want the cheek to be. On the hook, wrap it around to the figure 8, grab both bands, wrap them around again, and then pull through 2 bands the color of your heart. Like that. We have those ready. And of course it is on one loom, wrong end towards me, or towards yourself, I guess, because you don't know where I am. And what we're going to do is start by making some X's on the loom. I'm going to start up on the 4th pin up from the bottom as I go and lay my X's across, because we do expand a little bit, so you want to have at least 2 pins prior, so starting at the 4th one is a good spot. So 2 bands, everything will be double banded unless I say differently. 2 bands across, and then 2 bands right on top of that in an X. And we're going to make 4 more of these, and we'll just start where we left off, left to right, and then right to left. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 X's. And then on the 2 pins up here, you want to take 2 bands and wrap them around these pins 1 time. So we're just making a cap band. So like that. And then we'll take our hook, and starting over here on the right side, because this is the band that's underneath on the X, we'll go in through the cap band, grab those 2 bands on the bottom, pull them back all the way across. Then we'll do the same thing over here. Go in through the cap band, grab those 2 bands, pull them up through, and bring them all the way across. And then once you have that, you'll start wherever the band is on the bottom. Grab those 2 bands, pull them across, and come back and grab the other one. Just keep going down to the bottom. It will bow in a little bit, it's a little tight, but as soon as we get the first row on there, it should loosen up a little bit. Plus, if you have the, I don't have the big base plate on while I'm looming so you guys can see better, but if you have yours on, then it should be fine. So like that. Now we're going to do a row all the way around. Push these down. Ooh. I think my loom just broke. It totally did. Well, interesting. We'll see what we can make happen. So 2 bands all the way around. It didn't fall apart, so we're going to go for it. But I may grab another base plate to hopefully save this. It's only a matter of time. I've been using this kind of one loom exclusively for quite some time. So it should look like this, only not have a broken loom. In one moment. I cracked it. At least it's only one. So you know the pin bars are like super cheap if you need to buy one? Wahaha. Saved. So we have a row all the way around with the 2 bands. And then what we'll do is go and you'll grab the bottom 4 bands all the way around. Now please don't let my loom breaking in the middle of this be like, your loom's gonna break. I hope it doesn't, but like I said, I've been using this loom exclusively for everything that I create for a long time, and that's a lot of stuff going back and forth, and I will be the first to admit that I am not the most gentle with my loom and what I do to it, so like that. Push your bands down. Now we're going to do, if you kind of divide this in half, we have the 3 pins up here and 3 pins down here. We're going to do a row. I want to start up here on this 3rd pin up, come around to the other side, stop at the 3rd pin, and then we'll do another row on the other half. So I'm kind of calling it a half row because we're going to leave, or we're not going to put any bands here in the center. So 2 bands. Around. It's kind of sad that my loom didn't like, so then you could have like been like, oh, that's awesome. So we'll do up here. Like that. So now when we flip the bands, we're not going to flip the middle 4 pins. We're only going to flip the 4 on each end. So the 4 up here and the 4 down here. So don't do anything right here, but you'll flip the 4 on the 2nd pin down and then the 4 on the top pin on both sides. And do the same thing down here. Don't do anything up here, but flip down below. Like that. Push your bands down, and anytime you want to, you can start pulling this stuff towards the center. Just take your hook, grab it, and pull it this way. Then our next row is going to be, we're going to start at the 2nd pin up, come around the end, and then we'll do that on the same thing on the top side too. So 2 bands again. So right here. Same thing up here. Like that. So when we flip, we're only going to flip the end 4 pins on both ends, and 4 on both, and 4 on both ends. Same thing down here. Push those down. And if you look at it, you'll see that there's kind of like little teardrop shapes right here and right here on both sides. And then they're up here as well. So you know you're on the right track. Now what we're going to do is do an increase. And how we're going to do that is up here, I'm able to pick up the top two bands. They are coming from the pin over here on the left side, and I'm just going to bring them up. And we want this band to come around and to be over here on this side, but it's on the bottom on this side, so I'm going to pick up all four bands, bring them up to the pin above, grab the top two, and then bring them back down. Like that. So this band comes around and goes to this pin. So there's no crossing in here, if anything. You may have to switch that depending on how you put them on the loom. So you might have to pick up all four on this side, bring them up, and this one might go up. Just kind of depends. And then we're going to do the same thing on this end down here. So I can see that I can pick up the top two bands, bring them down, and then on the right side I have to pick up all four bands and bring them down. And then bring back the top two. So again, that band just curves around. Now we are going to do a row all the way around the entire thing with the two bands. It does make me kind of sad that I broke my loom. But, I mean, obviously I have another one just from past tutorials, so you know I have at least two. I also want to say I do kind of apologize for getting this one a little bit late for Valentine's Day. Just kind of been a little busy with planning a little trip for this coming weekend, and just seems like there's never ending things I need to do to make sure everything is good at home when I'm gone, and that I have everything set on my trip. So like that. So when we flip, top will be two bands and two bands. Then right here will be six. We're only going to leave the top four on all the pins, so like I said, 6 here, then 6 here, 6 again, 6 again, that's my laundry, it's done, and then 2 on the bottommost 2 pins. It's my laundry if you're hearing my buzzer. So then 2 bands again, then 2, and then there'll be 6 on the middle ones. For some reason I have more trouble flipping the the right side than I do the left side, so I usually just kind of grab part of it, flip that over, and come back for the rest of it. But just so you leave the 4 bands on the pin. And then again 2 on the bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start loosening up the center so it comes up over the pins. You just want to do that on both sides. Like that. Push your bands down. Now once again we're going to do a row all the way around one end and then a row around the other end, but we're going to skip putting bands in the center. So right here at the center pin there won't be any bands. So I'm going to start right here on the 4th pin up and come back around to the 4th pin on the right side. So we got that side, then we'll skip, and then we'll go around this end up here. like that. So then when we flip the bands, we're going to leave the middle four pins alone and just do the 6 on the end on both sides. So the 4 up here, and then 4, 4 again, and I'm not going to do anything with this one or this one. Then we'll do the 4 on the bottom 3. And we'll do the same thing on both sides. Nothing here or here. Like that. Push your bands down. Again, just kind of keep pulling them towards the center. So again, we're going to start on the 3rd pin up now, come around and stop on the 3rd pin, and we'll do the same thing up on this end. So still 2 bands. Like that. And we'll skip all the way, start on the 3rd pin down and go around. Like that. And once again, we're just going to flip the top 2 pins and we'll leave the 3rd pin alone. So 4 bands to flip on the top 2, both sides. And we'll do the same thing down below. Like that. Push your bands down. And we're going to do that one more time, just in the last little spot. So just a band, or 2 bands, sorry, not a band, bands. 2 bands right on the bottom edge. So right there, and then do the same thing on the other end. That. So we're just going to flip the end 4 pins. There'll be 4 to flip on each corner. Just pulling this up a little bit. Like that. So we are going to increase one more time here. So same thing as before, we're going to do it on the 4 corners. So right here I can pick up the top 2 bands and I can bring them up. And then over on the left side I have to pick up all of them. I'm going to bring them up. And then I'll grab the top 2 and bring them back down. So again, this band comes and curves around on the end. We'll do the same thing below. Pick up the top 2, bring them down. Then I'm going to bring down all of these bands and bring the top 2 back. If you have any trouble doing that, you can just, I hooked a little bit more, so if you did that, just kind of unhook it and it'll loosen that up a little bit. So now I have to turn it sideways a little bit just to get everything into my frame here, but so we have it stretched out. Now we're going to do a row all the way around this entire portion. Make sure my bands are pushed down. So 2 bands all the way around. And don't worry, we don't expand it anymore, so there won't be too many more bands to go through. Takes a lot to get that middle, or to get the little bumps on the heart. I know I mentioned it before in my last video, but I'm super excited about this trip this weekend. I'm leaving tomorrow. And it's a little sad too, because I'll be leaving my kiddos again, which I haven't done very often since they've been little. So it's kind of bittersweet, but it'll be good for Mama. So like that, all the way around. So when we flip, top one will be 2, then 2 again. Then we'll have 6 for the next 6 pins to flip. And you can always just kind of grab these top two bands, flip those over, then grab the bottom 4, flip those over. Just whatever's easiest for you. Like I said, it always seems easy for me on the left side, but the right side not as easy. And then 2 on the bottom. So you're left with 4 bands all the way along the side. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. 2, 2, and then the 6. I will say though that I plan on sharing my trip with you guys because it kind of relates to what I do here, and I think it'll be fun, so excited. And again, it was 2 on the bottom 2 pins. So it looks like this now. So what we're going to do is reduce, and how we're going to do that is up in this top corner on the right. I'm going to pick up the top 2 bands. They're coming from the left side, so I'm going to bring them over to the right. And then the other 2 bands that are on the pin, I'm going to bring them across to the left. Like that. Come down to the bottom side. I'm going to grab the top 2 bands. They're coming from the left pin, so I'm going to take them over to the right. And then the bottom 2 bands, I'm going to take those over to the left. So you just go to the opposite pin from where they're coming from. So it looks like this. Now our next row is going to be our eye row, so you want your eyes. So just kind of start with me, 2 bands down here. And 2. 2 more. And then 2. And then in the next spot, or the 4th band spot up, is where we'll put our first eye. Like that. And you see that this is the center of the heart. We're going to just put 2 bands there. And then this next spot will be the other eye. Like that. Then it's going to be 2 bands around the rest of it back to the beginning. like so. So our eyes. Just find that, you should be able to find that center pin pretty easily, and then just make sure the eyes are to the either the top and the bottom or left and right of that center pin. Because I know we reduce a little funny, so it's kind of hard to, like, is this the center? Is that the center? So just find that center pin where the two bumps are coming up, and right there, eyes. So I'll go ahead and flip the bands all the way around. There'll be the 6 on the ends because of the reducing that we did. So 6 here, and then 4 down through the middle section. And then 6 on the end. Same thing. You have no idea how surprised I am that that loom is still together with just that base plate holding it. But I'm happy. Like so. So now what we're going to do is reduce again. So I'm going to push my bands down. So up here in this top corner, I'll pick up the top 2 bands. See where they're coming from? They're coming from the left, so they're going to come over to the right. Grab the other 2 bands, and they'll come over to the left. And down here on this far corner, pick up the top 2. They're coming from the right, so they're going to go over to the left. And the same thing, opposite pin. So once you have that, now we are going to reduce again. This time we're going to do it a little bit differently than what we have been doing. And what we're going to do is down here, we have the reducing band that we did. Then there's the bottom 4 bands. We're going to go through the reducing band, the top 2 bands, grab the bottom 2, pull it up through, and I can tell that I've got through these 4 bands. I'm going to bring it back to the pin before and latch it on. So when I remove these, they will be captured by this band right here. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Just make sure you get those bottom 2 bands. So I'm going to go through the top 4 bands, grab the bottom 2, pull them up through the center, and bring them back towards the middle. And these can come off. I'll flip this up over the top of the pin if you don't have it there already. Like that. Then you push that end down. Then we'll do the exact same thing down here on this end. So you have the top 2 from the reducing, and you have the 4 from before. And make sure they're all, you have them in the right order. So through the top 4, grab the bottom 2, pull up the 2 bands, and bring it back towards the center. And these can come off. Same thing on the other side. Through the top 4, grab the bottom 2, pull them up, back towards the center, and these can come off. Go ahead and flip this to the other side of the pin carefully. Don't want your reducing bands to come off. I snagged one. I'm just kind of making that a little smooth. And then push your bands down on the corners there. Then we're going to do another row all the way around, and this one is going to be our cheek row, so you'll want your cheeks. We'll start with 2 bands across the end, and we'll just go up 2 more, then we'll put our cheek right below our eye. And 2 bands in the middle, and our other cheek band. Like that. And then 2 bands around the rest. And if you see here, we're doing this really long stretch across the end here. This is where we end up with the bands that need to be kind of adjusted, or where it's kind of where it starts, I guess. So that's where it comes from, what I talked about earlier with having to adjust some bands on the sides. So like that. So now we're going to flip. It'll be 6 on the ends and then 4 in the middle. Same thing on the other side. Like that. And I'm going to pull up the end carefully. Get that band underneath. Anytime you want to, you can take it off the center here. I just kind of leave it on there for now. So you're going to push your bands down again. And now it's time to put on the mouth. And our mouth is actually going to stretch across these 2 pins right here in the center between the eyes. And how we're going to do this is, I'm going to take my hook and on this pin right here, stick them through, grab all the 4 bands, pull them off the pin, and just leave them on my hook. With my other hand, I'm going to grab whatever color band I want for the mouth, which will be black. I'm going to put it on, I like that one. This one's better. Put it on the pin, and I'm going to double it. Just twist it around once and put it back on. So we just cap band right there. I'm going to take the bands on my hook and put them back onto the pin. Like that. So we'll go and grab the bands on the next pin over, put them on my hook, pull it back, and then with my fingers I'm just going to grab both of those bands from that cap band and pull them across to the pin down, like that. And we'll replace the bands back onto the pin that are on my hook. Make sure you get all 4 bands back around the pin. That's usually where I run into trouble if I'm not careful. So it should look like this now. And then what you'll do is just take your hook and flip the band back over the top. I usually kind of give it a good tug. Some more smiles in the front, but like that. Now we're going to do another row all the way around with the 2 bands. Like so. Like that. So then you'll flip the bottom 4 all the way around. like so. Push your bands down. Now we're going to reduce again, and we're going to reduce like we did the second time, I guess. So we're going to go in through, this time the top 2 bands, grab the bottom 2, pull them up through, and bring them back towards the middle, and then these bands can come off. Same thing on the other side, through the top 2, grab the bottom 2, pull them up through, back towards the middle. Those bands can come off. And do the same thing on the other end. Just make sure you have the bands in the right order. So through the top, grab the bottom, pull it back. And don't worry about these, they go tuck back inside. Like that. I'm going to unhook it from the pins and bring it towards the center more. Just be careful nothing pops off. Push your bands down. Then we're going to do a row around. 2 bands. Just have to kind of squish this over. Like that. And on the ends you're going to have 6 bands to flip, and the middles will be 4. Same thing. Like that. Push your bands down. So we're going to reduce again. We're going to reduce the top left and the bottom right corner. And we're going to do that the first way that I showed you, where we'll pick up the top 2 bands. See where they're coming from? Mine are coming from the right, so I'm going to take them over to the left. And the ones on the pin still will come back over to the right. And if you want, you can unhook this from the pin. Just be careful nothing pops off. And the same thing on the lower right corner. Top 2 bands. Make sure they're the top 2. See where they're coming from? Mine are coming from this top right. So I'll go over here to the bottom left. And the other bands will come over to the right. And I'll pop these up into the center even more. As you can tell, it gets a little bunched up in there. So now that you did that, we'll do another row all the way around. Just kind of squish it out of the way again. 2 bands. And we are getting close to being done. And like that. So like that. So then we'll have 6 bands on the corners and 4 in the center. that. So we're going to reduce one last time. So we'll reduce this top right and the lower left, just like we just did before, by taking the top two bands. Mine are coming from the left, so they're going to come over to the right. And then the other ones will come to the left. And then the same thing down here. Top two, which I don't think I have. Voila. Top two. They're coming from the left, so they're going to go over to the right. And the other two will go to the left. Like that. So we'll do a row around, 2 bands, all the way around on the 4 pins that are left. Like that. So then you'll flip the bottom 6 all the way around. And just do it in sections if it's too tight. Just so you have 4 bands left on all the pins. Like that. So now we're ready to take this off the loom and close it. So I'm going to actually start at this kind of lower right. Take off those 4 bands. Come around to the front. Put my hook through those. Next ones. And then come around to the back. Like that. 2 bands on the hook. Pull it all the way through. Both ends back on. Slip knot. Pull tight. And then hide it. There. We'll look at that in a minute. So now don't freak out, because this is what it's going to look like. This is where we switched over our reducing to different kind of format type thing. So we just have to fix. We have to adjust the bands. So I'm just going to take my hook, and there's kind of a center row. Take my hook, grab those bands in that center row, and stretch them back out where they belong, because we tightened it up around the outside. And sometimes you may have to go like to the row to the right, or to the left and to the right, but it's really not too big of a deal. Just grab the next bands over and adjust them. So like that. Comes down nice now. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And like you see here, this is probably where I hooked it when I was adjusting it out of the loom. So then I kind of have this extra band poking up, so I'll have to pull that back in to hide it. Happens all the time. Well, to me anyways. So I just had this one band, it's poking out and it's bothering me. So I'll come on the inside, come up through, grab it, and pull it back in so it's even. And you just kind of give them some squishes, or however you need to do it, but it's just from the band tension. The shape is correct. Believe me, I made a lot of ugly hearts before I got to these, and I think that these turned out pretty darn cute. Pretty darn cute. Like so. cheek is kind of messed up. Oh, you're making me look bad. Go where you belong. Anywho, you can fix your cheeks how you like. You will probably need to pull out the mouth band some more to get that smile. But that is the happy heart. Adorable. You just kind of... A little spot bothered me. There, better. So, move these out of the way. Let's see what we did here. I definitely broke it. See, not using my base removal tool, and you wonder why I break my stuff. But, besides a little sharpness, it's not too bad. Something I can probably sand off. I always wanted, and since I'm kind of going to show you, I've always wanted to have a loom that was kind of like 6 pins wide. Or like, if I could add a couple more pins here, but only have it like this big, I think that'd be perfect for certain things. I don't know why. So I'm totally going to save these for something else. I'll save them until I break something else, and then we'll use these for those. I have a weird loom. And I'll be like, where did you get that loom? Like, I made it, kind of. So, here's our little happy fence for our happy hearts. But I hope you enjoyed these. Like I said, I apologize, it's a little close to Valentine's Day before I got this up, but I definitely wanted to make it for you guys, and I have so much coming up for you that I'm excited and nervous, and I just can't wait to share it with you, and I hope you enjoy it too. But I hope you love the hearts, because who doesn't love a happy heart? And if you make some of these, I'd love for you to share them with me on my Instagram, which is at Crafting Fantastic, or on my Facebook page, which is feelinspiffy or Crafting Fantastic. They'll both find me. And then, of course, keep looming. I'm definitely going to keep looming, and maybe a few other things. Be prepared. But you'll enjoy them, I hope. But thank you so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You are totally what makes my channel be my channel, because you guys are here watching my stuff, and you enjoy it, and I love that, and I thank you so much, and I will have more for you soon. So happy looming, happy Valentine's Day, and I will have more for you soon.